Hello everyone, in this video I'll be explaining the problem, the lead game. So let's continue the series roadmap to become competitive programmer 5-star. So the game of billiards involved two players knocking three balls around a green table, right? Green base table. Well, there is a more to it, but for our purpose this is sufficient. So it says the game consists of several rounds, and in each round both players obtain a score based on how well they played. Yeah, once all the rounds have been played, the total score of each player is determined by adding up the score in all the rounds, and the player with the highest total score is declared the winner. Okay, so this is the rule of the billiard game. But the Seruseri Sports Club, the sports club organizes an annual billiard game where the top two players of the you know Seruseri by play against each other. So the manager of this sports club decides to add his own twist to the game by changing the rule to determine the winner. So basically, in the billiard game, what we had is you need to find the scores obtained by each player in each round, and at the end, whichever was the total highest score, they were declared as winners. But the manager of this Siruseri Sports Club, what he decided is that he wants to twist the rule. So let's understand what is his rule. In his version, at the end of each round, the cumulative score for each player is calculated, and the leader and her current lead are found. Got it. So once all the rounds are over, the player who has the maximum lead at the end of any round in the game is declared the winner. Okay, cool. That's I'll be telling you. Consider the following score sheet for the game is equal to 5. Okay. Yeah, I will be taking this example and understanding what is happening. And the total score of both the players, the leader and the lead after each round, we have this table. I'll be drawing this table, don't worry. Note that the above table contains the cumulative scores. Yeah, these are the scores, cumulative scores. And the winner of this game is player 1, as he had the maximum lead 58 at the end of the round 1. So, okay, during the game, your task is to help the manager find the winner and the winning lead. You may assume that the scores will be such that there always be a single winner, that is, there is no tie. Okay, so the test case they have been generated in such a way that at the end, like at the end of each round, it will not have scores as same. They will have definitely a different scores, that they're saying. So okay, so first let's take input, then I'll be explaining on the board like what they are saying. So the first line of input will contain single integer n. So we have single integer n, and which indicates the rounds in the game. And from line 2 to n plus 1 describe the scores of the two players in n rounds. So okay. So while like in each round, what I'll be doing is I'll be moving to each round, and in each round they have two integers. Let me call score as temp score of S. Okay, let me call player 1 score player 1 and score player 2, and I'll be taking their values score player 1 score player 2. Okay, in each round we are taking the score of the both the players. And yeah, this is the input. I'll be telling you what is the example is about. So we don't have here test cases. We have single n, which is 5, like we have 5 rounds, and in the 5 rounds the scores of the both player 1 and player 2 are in this way. So let's take this on the board. So let me first write. You have 5 rounds. In first round, round 1, the scores are in this form: 140, 82. In round 2, the score is 89, 134, and you have 90. In the third round, 110, In round 4 you have 112 and 106. In the round 5 the scores are 88, 90. So let's come to the board. So this is a score for player 1 and this is a score for player 2. And this is round 1, this is for round 2, this is for round 3, 4 and round 5. So they are competing with each other. So in the round 1, player 1 has scored 40. Yeah, they have scored 40 and player 2 has scored 82. So this is the score at the end of round 1. So in this case, if you see, player 1 has highest, score more than player 2. So in this case, definitely player 1 is having more score. So in order to find the difference, now I'll be taking one more table, cumulative sum. So in this table, what I'll be doing is I'll be taking the scores of player 1 and player 2. Let me draw a bit at this position because we need to find the leader and lead score as well. Player 1, player 2. We have leader and we have lead. So at the end of round 1, player 1 has scored 140 and player 2 has scored 82. So in this case, if you see, player 1 has got more marks, so leader will be player 1. And if you see the difference between their scores, so this is 40 and this is 82, here you have 18 and here you have 40, which is 58. So player 1 has 58 score more than player 2, right? And this is in round 1. This is in round 1. And when round 2 has over, so player 1 had 140 at the end of round 1 and in the round 2 he has got 89. So you just add these two marks, like at the end of the round 2 the scores of round 1 and round 2 will be added. So it is going to be 229, I guess. Yeah, 9 and then 12 and then 2. Yeah. And here if you see the it is going to be 216. 6, 11, 216. So in this case, if you see again at the end of round 2, the cumulative sum means all the round sum you will be taking. All the round sum means whichever round it has been in the previous, it has been over. So you don't need to take the round for 3 and 4 when you are dealing with round 2. When you are dealing with round 2, only round 1 and round 2 will be dealing. When you are dealing with round 3, round 1, round 2, round 3, sum will be taking. So yeah, if you see clearly at the end of round 2, again player 1 is having 229 score and player 2 is having 216. 229 is greater, so here the leader is P1 only, and the lead, by how many score the player 1 is leading the game. If you try to see, so 16 you have here, it's like 14 minus 1, 13. So 13 is the lead that they're having. Basically subtract 229 with 216, you will get 13. And at the end of round 3, so at the end of round 2 our score was 229. So in the round 3 player 1 scored 90 marks, so you just add to it, so that is going to be 319. And at the for player 2 it is going to be 216 plus this 110, and that is going to be 326. Yeah, that is true. If in addition, if I do any mistake, you just take care of that, but you just focus on the concept. So in this case, if you see, player 2 has more score, 326 and 319 is smaller. So definitely here the after the round 3, player 2 is going to be the leader. So P2 is leader, but by how many scores player 2 is leading? So that is going to be 326 minus 319. If you do, that is going to be 7. So this is a story till round 3. Let's do the same for round 4 now. So at the end of round 4, player has scored 112. So at the end of round 3, you had 319 score. You just add these two. If you add these two, that is going to be 431, if I'm not wrong. 1, 3 and 4, yeah. And here if you see, that is going to be 12, 3, 4, 432. So if you see here, the both scores are all will not be equal, because in the question they said it is not possible for both the players to have the same score. There will be always a difference. So in this case 432 is again greater than 431. So player 2 is leader, and the player 2 is leading at the round 4 by one score. So if you do 432 minus 431, that is going to be 1. So this is the story till round 4, and we have round 5 as well, right? So in the round 5, player 1 has scored 88, uh, 88 points. So if you add this 431 to 88, that is going to be 9, 1, 5, 519. And in this 432, you just add 92, that is going to be 522. So in this case also, if you see, player 2 has got more score, and the difference between that is 3, like they're leading by 3. So according to the sports club rule, uh, like actually if you play billiard, since player 2 has more scores, so he'll be winning. But in our question there is a twist. The twist is that uh, after every round you had a lead, right? So you had a lead. So when you had a lead, so in this, which is the maximum lead? So maximum lead is 58. So if that is the maximum lead, and which player was taking that lead, that is player 1. So in this lead, in every round there will be a lead, by how many score the like one player is leading the game. So whichever player has highest lead, so that player is going to win, and leader going to find. That is the answer. I mean, I think you guys got to know how to solve this. So in this case, player 1 is going to win, so 1 you will have to display, and then they are leading by 58 marks. So this is the thing you will have to display by space separated. So now the question comes, how you solve why coding. So why coding, what I'll be doing is, I'll be taking the temporary score in each round, right? I'll be taking temporary score. I'll be maintaining a total score of player 1 and player 2. So let's say total score of player 1, initially it will be 0. Total score of player 2, initially it will be 0. In each round, I'll be taking current score of player 1, which is going to be, let's say in round 1 it is going to be 140, and current score of player 2 in round 1 is going to be 82. So I'll be adding these two into the total sum, so which means the total score of the player 1 and total score of player 2 you will having at the end of each round. So now you will have to find if total score of player 1 is greater than total score of player 2, or else if the other case. So in case of one having higher score, so you need to take one more variable, let's say lead, and your lead is going to be initially 0, starting from, like they have not played anything, so starting it will be 0. So after each round, so you just take this total score difference. So whatever difference you are getting, that is going to be in the lead. So let's say in this case the lead is 140 minus 82. If you do in the total sum, that is like in the first round, you will be taking current score, and then you will be adding it to total sum. So here you will be having 140, and here you will have 82, and lead will be this minus this, which is going to be 58. So again, since lead is like 58, and you need to check one more thing, like if your current lead, uh, it's like this total sum of player 1 minus total sum of player 2, if it is greater than the current lead, then like one of the player has leaded the previous lead, so it's like we'll be maintaining the max lead. So yeah, I'll be showing you these things in the code, how to do it, and I'll be explaining you line by line, don't worry. So we have, first what I said is that we need to take lead, and lead will be initially 0. We don't have any player leading the game because game has not started yet. Now we'll be taking total score of player 1, which is initially 0, total score of player 2, which is initially 0, and let's take current score of player 1 in the round, let's say first round, second round, third round, that case current score of player 2, current score of player 1, current score of player 2. So once you have got the scores, you need to add in this total score. So total score of player 1 will be added with current score of player 1, and total score of player 2 will be added with current score of player 2. So now we have got the cumulative scores, which is in total score of player 1 and total score of player 2. So now you need to find if total score of player 1, um, first you need to find the current lead, like in the present round what is the lead the player is taking. So you will be taking current lead, and which is going to be absolute value of total score of player 1 minus total score of player 2. Why absolute? Because it may happen that total score of player 1 is greater, so in that case you will get lead in negative, but that is not the case. So that's why we are taking the absolute value. So now you will be finding if this current lead is greater than the lead in the previous rounds what we have. So in that case definitely one of the player has now overpassed the previous leads, which means that is going to be the answer. So we'll be doing for each round these things. So that is the case when your current lead is greater than the previous lead. So in that case you will have to check like which player is leading the game. So in that case you will have to find if total score of player 1 is greater than total score of player 2, which means the player 1 is leading the game, right? So what we will do is I'll be taking one more variable here, bool, as player 1. Initially I'll be not taking any value, which means no player has leaded the game, and when I came at this position wherein current lead is greater than the previous lead, which means we'll have to check like which player has more score in the present round. So in the present round total score of player 1 is greater, which means player 1 is leading the game. So player 1 I'll put it as true, which means player 1 is leading the game. Else we know like player 2 will be having more score, which means player 1 is not leading the game. I'll be putting it as false. But we need to update the lead as well, right? So since your current lead is greater than the lead, previous lead, so you'll have to update the previous lead with the current lead. So yeah, this will take care. And when you come out of the loop, you'll have to find if player 1 is equal to true, which means player 1 has more lead. So you'll have to display 1, right? Else you'll have to display 2, and they have asked you to display player 1 or 2 and then the lead. So for that you'll have to display again the lead, and you just put endl. And this one I think you guys are clear, like every time we take the round we decrease the round by 1, so that only end round will be taken care of. So let's try to run the code. So in the first case we're getting 1 and 58. Let's try to submit it. Yeah, it got accepted and it is correct. All the 7 test cases has passed. So I think you guys got to know it is very easy. Basically you need to maintain the current lead in each round, and then total score of player 1 and player 2, and then for this lead which player is winning the game. So in each round you have to take the current score and then add it to the total score, and you just find the current lead whatever you have by the different values. Yeah, absolute different values of total scores. Now when you find that the current in the current round that one of the player is leading the game, which means the previous lead is lesser than the current lead, so you'll have to update your current lead with previous lead with the current lead. And in order to find which player has leaded the round, so we'll have to see if total score of player 1 is greater than 2, player of 2, total score of player 2, then player 1 has leaded the game. So in that case you just put true, player 1 is true, which means player 1 has won. Else player 2 has won. So we can take one more variable saying player 2 has won, or you can put in the same variable like player 1 has not won, which means it is saying it is false. And at the end, based on this player 1 true or false, you will be displaying the player 1 and 2 and then the scores. So yeah, that was it. I think you guys got to know, and thank you guys for watching the video.